These are 10 episodes where Randy Marsh deserved to go to jail. Episode 10 on our list is season 12's About Last Night, which starts off with Randy celebrating the fact that Obama is now the president.
Yeah! Obama! Woo!
However, not content with just celebrating in his living room, Randy then takes to the streets and becomes increasingly more drunk and obnoxious as the night carries on, which then causes his own son Stan to call in a noise complaint.
Yes, I'd like to make a noise complaint.
And honestly, this only makes things worse, as Randy takes Obama's slogan of "Yes We Can" a little bit too seriously by flipping over Officer Bar Brady's car.
Yes, we can!
Yeah, I'm not sure that's what Obama was talking about, Randy. And boy, things don't get any better for Randy in this episode, as after he's drank his weight in alcohol, he then tracks down his boss to give him a piece of his mind. Oh, and of course, a piece of his fist. Wow, it looks like someone is getting fired in the morning. And if all of this wasn't bad enough, Randy ends up in the hospital from his excessive partying, where, as you may have assumed, he's still being incredibly drunk and obnoxious. However, what puts this episode at number 10 on the list is that Randy is actively gloating in front of people who are trying to unalive themselves.
Obama, when you kiss me, it stopped me from shaking. But I said you will.
And thankfully, Randy faces his karmatic justice at the end of this episode. As to the surprise of absolutely no one, Randy's boss calls him in the morning with some bad news.
Dad, your boss called. He said you're fired.
Wow. Who could have seen that one coming? However, for all of the damage that Randy caused during his drinking spree, he deserves at least a couple of weeks behind bars. Episode 9 on our list is Medicinal Fried Chicken, which honestly starts off in a very normal way, with the boys finishing off soccer practice and Randy driving them to go get KFC.
Shut up, you shifty I'll kill you.
However, this is where the episode takes a rather funky turn, as the KFC has been replaced by a medicinal drugstore, with Randy not quite understanding the medicinal part of this title. And so, after ditching the kids in the parking lot, Randy finds out from the doctor that only people who are seriously unwell are allowed access to these medicinal drugs.
You are in fine shape. Well, that sucks.
And for most people, this would be the end of the conversation. However, Randy isn't most people.
Just gonna get a little bit of cancer, Stan.
And yes, Randy then seriously tries to give himself a deadly disease just so that he can smoke some of the good stuff, with Randy abusing sunbeds and even putting his balls in the microwave in order to achieve this.
Oh, hey, Stan, could you grab me a beer?
And yeah, honestly, I would do the same if I was Stan. However, much to Randy's surprise, this actually works. And with his wheelbarrow at the ready, Randy is finally ready to order a small and sensible amount of the devil's lettuce.
1 ounce of Purple Orpal, 2 ounces of Fisherman's Friend, and a ½ ounce of Alabama Kush.
And boy, would you like fries with that? And the reason that this episode makes it to number 9 on the list is that after all the guys see Randy being able to smoke the devil's lettuce, he then convinces him to get the same horrible disease that he has in order to join him in smoking.
Look, I'm telling you guys, it's awesome. I can have all the pot I want, I get around faster than walking, and wherever I need a seat, I can just sit on my balls.
And yeah, I'm starting to think that Randy doesn't have the best judgment. However, the reason that this episode isn't higher on the list, no pun intended, is that everyone in this episode is just having a load of fun and bouncing on their balls. However, what isn't as lighthearted is episode 8 on our list. However, before we get into that, this video is brought to you by Manscaped. And so, now that Hot Boy Summer has come and gone, it's time to throw away the old dusty beard trimmer that we've been using for years. And luckily for me, Manscaped has sent over the Beard Hedger. So, Let's check it out. This powerful beard trimmer has a 7,200 RPM motor and a titanium-coated T-blade that can cut through the thickest of hair in a single stroke. Or, in my case, cut through very small hairs incredibly quickly. However, if you do have longer beard hair than me, which isn't that much of a challenge, then you can choose from 20 different hair cutting lengths with a zoom wheel that only uses one guard. That's right, one guard and 20 different hair lengths. And if this isn't convincing enough, the beard trimmer is also waterproof, cordless, and rechargeable, so that you can trim in the shower to save time and create less mess. And if you're thinking about growing your first beard like me, or you're a seasoned beard professional, then Manscaped makes beard care incredibly easy. And so, go to manscaped.com today and get 20% off plus free shipping when you use promo code HARRY20 at checkout. And join over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped today. And a massive thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring this video. The end of obesity, which starts off with Randy warning his daughter Shelly about the dangers of wearing crop tops. And honestly, it's hard to blame him, as in the very next scene, almost all of the moms in South Park are talking about throwing a party to take drugs, albeit that drug is Ozempic.
Well, then what are you doing? You gotta come join the group.
There's a group?
Yeah, a bunch of the girls, we get together and talk about all the different drugs and where we can get them.
And of course, as soon as Randy hears that there's a party involving drugs, he's there quicker than you can say creme fraiche. Although, I don't think Randy knows what kind of drugs party this is.
I brought a little, appetizer for everybody.
And whilst Randy is enjoying looking at all the hot MILFs, little does he realize that something much darker is brewing, as the entire town of South Park has ran out of Ozempic.
Randy doesn't have any either. Oh no.
No.
And with no drugs in sight, Randy and the moms of South Park start executing dangerous robberies in order to get their fix.
Nobody move. This is a holdup. Stay calm and nobody gets hurt.
And boy, I'm not sure Ozempic is working on Randy. And Randy and the moms of South Park then take this a step further by robbing his own son and then hijacking a truck full of semi-glutides.
Take your foot off the pedal. How much semaglutide you got in the back?
And in spite of this episode lands at number 8, as it's possibly one of the only times that Randy has ever felt genuine remorse, deciding to ditch the moms and even fighting off multiple beloved icons of sugar in order to get the truck back to the boys. However, for all of the horrible crimes that Randy helps commit, including robbery and intimidation, Randy definitely deserves a few years behind bars. Episode 7 on our list is overlogging, which begins with Sharon telling everyone in the family that it's time to log off their computers.
You can do one more thing and then it's bedtime.
One more thing.
And boy, I wonder what that one more thing is. And after this, the entire town of South Park is suddenly left without internet, which leads to Randy doing his very best Michael Scott impersonation, as he tells his family to keep calm.
Everyone just calm down! Calm down, alright?
And so, after scrambling to the nearest Starbucks to no avail, Randy realizes that if he ever wants to use the internet again, and of course, have his secret no-no time, that he's going to have to take his family out to California. However, before he ditches South Park, he does leave them all with one last zinger.
Look, if you do find internet, let us know, will ya?
How? You won't have internet.
And once they get to the internet camp in California, Randy quickly realizes that the allotted 30 seconds won't be nearly enough time for him to pleasure himself.
No! No! Next.
And so, in typical Randy fashion, he's able to find a way to sneak into the computer base, and, well, you can guess what happens next.
There was a ghost! this ectoplasm!
And because of Randy's inability to resist temptation, the entire internet is shut down all across the world. And if it wasn't for Kyle's heroics in plugging the internet off and back on again, then the internet as we know it may very well have died forever. Which ultimately means no YouTube. And so for that, Randy should absolutely be put behind bars for the rest of his life. Episode number 6 on our list comes from season 13's Pinewood Derby, which starts off on a rather wholesome note, with Randy teaming up with his son Stan to win the local race car competition.
I went and got something to put inside our car and make it go extra fast.
However, not even 2 minutes into the episode, Randy has already committed his first crime, as it's revealed that Randy has stolen a superconducting bending magnet from a base in Switzerland.
Surveillance cameras were able to record the theft on tape, and police are now looking for Princess Leia Organa of Alderaan.
And wow, what a great disguise. I could hardly tell that that was Randy. And so, after this theft, Randy and Stan are easily able to win the Pinewood Derby. However, this is with one small caveat, being that they accidentally bent the fabric of space and time and discovered warp speed. However, believe it or not, Randy's crimes only get worse in this episode, as after a criminal alien called Baby Fart McGeezax comes to Earth, Randy gets his own son to stab him in the neck, before stealing all of his space cash.
This is a lot of space cash, guys. Think what we could do with it.
And if this wasn't bad enough, when the country of Finland threatens to tell the space police about their missing cash, Randy gets all of the other world powers to nuke Finland off the map. Well, so long Finland. We'll all miss you. And even when his own son comes forward to apologize, Randy still refuses to acknowledge any wrongdoing, doubling down on all of his lies and even getting the world leaders to lie as well.
Do we have anything else to tell the space cops? Nope. No
Nope.
changes, no.
No changes.
No, tell them no.
No changes.
And jeepers, they really messed up, as it turns out that Baby Fart McGeezax isn't even a real criminal, and that for discovering warp speed, Randy and the rest of the Earth were being put through a test. And this test was to see if the Earth was fit to join the Galactic Federation. However, thanks to all of Randy's lies, Earth is now forever banished to isolation forever. And wow, good going, Randy. Episode 5 on our list comes from season 23's Mexican Joker and season finale, which starts off with Randy basking in the glory of Tegridy Farms by giving tour guides of his now much expanded business.
Morning one, Carlos.
However, things aren't all sunshine and rainbows at Tegridy Farms, as when Randy asks Stan for the monthly report on the business, sales numbers are actually considerably down.
Oh, no. This looks like our orders are actually down. You sure you did that right?
And so, wanting to get to the bottom of why this is, Randy goes into town to hand deliver people their orders. However, as it turns out, the people of South Park have actually started to grow their own supply, which, let's just say, Randy isn't exactly too best pleased about.
You. What? Is my weed not good enough for you? Something wrong with Tegridy?
And so, Randy tries to immediately make good on this promise by going to the city council by forcing his son Stan to read misinformation on how home-growing supplies could lead to babies dying.
Unscrupulous growers could use cheap irrigation and drown babies.
Yeah, father of the year over here, huh? And of course, after this immediately fails, Randy then goes to far more drastic extremes, teaming up with the billion-dollar conglomerate MedMen in order to once and for all get rid of home growers.
So you guys want to team up and piggyback on the goodwill of the legalization movement for some good old-fashioned crony capitalism? I'm totally in.
And the reason that this episode is as high as number 5 on this list is that Randy then burns down all of the gardens in South Park who are trying to compete against his business and grow their own supplies, which even leads to Randy murdering an innocent civilian in the process. However, Randy is able to get off with this by hiring Donald Trump's lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, who tells him to simply double down on all of his lies. So yeah, not exactly a lesson learned for Randy in this episode. Although, if I were the judge, best believe that he'd be spending years behind bars. Episode 4 on our list is The Losing Edge, with this iconic episode starting off with Randy doing some trash talking It Stands Literally game.
You want me to kick your ass right here?
However, of course, since it's Randy we're talking about here, he has to take it a step further, getting into an all-out fistfight with another Little League dad, before quite possibly giving us the most iconic line in South Park history.
I thought this was America! Huh? Isn't this America?
And okay, just for that quote, he might get a few years off of his sentence. And whilst the boys are bummed out that they have to play more baseball, Randy relishes the opportunity to get to fight the dads in the bigger leagues. Although, I must say, Randy's training techniques are rather unorthodox. However, there's clearly method to his madness, as whilst the boys keep unintentionally winning baseball games, Randy is picking up wins in the stands, as he beats up just about every trash-talking baseball dad in Colorado. Although, having said that, there is one man that he's still yet to face. A man that forces Randy to go on a Rocky-style walk around an empty stadium, and that man is of course Bat Dad.
I am the ultimate Little League trash-talking father.
And so, Randy and the Bat Dad then get into a fight that could honestly put Peter and the chicken to shame, as these two go at it for over 3 minutes.
I didn't hear no bell.
And the only reason that this episode isn't higher on the list, you know, considering he literally got arrested multiple times, is the fact that Randy's crimes actually serve a positive purpose in this episode, as Randy's fighting ultimately disqualifies the boys' team, meaning that they don't have to play baseball for another full summer.
Dad! You're the greatest.
Episode 3 on our list is Not Suitable for Children, which starts off with South Park Elementary calling an emergency meeting to discuss the art teacher starting a premium fans page.
Mrs. Strebel makes close to minimum wage as a teacher, but on OnlyFans, she makes an extra $10,000 a week.
And of course, with this being Randy, he no longer cares about any moral implications, and instead only hears dollar signs.
Did she say $10,000 a week?
And as you may have guessed at this point in the video, Randy then immediately starts a premium fans page of his own. However, this isn't without backlash, as after his wife Sharon finds out about this, she then makes a premium fans page of her own out of spite.
I mean, look at that, the lighting sucks!
And surprisingly, Randy actually takes this really well, learning his lesson on greed, and ultimately he then deletes his page in solidarity. And of course, I'm just kidding. In fact, Randy gets even worse, deciding that the best way to grow his premium fans page is to do something that's going to be viral with kids, which ultimately leads to Randy pouring cred, or South Park's legal substitute for Prime, down his balls.
Oh, okay, yeah, that one's kind of fizzy.
And boy, that's got a tingle. However, all of this marketing inappropriate content to children starts to pay off for Randy, as he quickly racks up thousands of views, and of course, since it's Randy, he then immediately sells himself off to some rather nefarious sponsors.
Who wants the influencer? 50,
100!
However, before Randy can finish selling his soul to the highest bidder, the FBI barges in and takes him in for questioning, where thankfully, for the good of humanity, Randy agrees to stop promoting his premium fans page to minors. Which, honestly, I'm amazed it took an FBI raid for him to realize that that's inappropriate. However, perhaps Randy's sentence can be reduced, as at the end of the episode, instead of throwing away all of his cred bottles, he then instead gives them to Cartman's affinity group, which finally allows Butters to become an incredibly popular kid.
Well, you can look at our cred, but don't touch.
Episode 2 on our list is the infamous With Apologies to Jesse Jackson, which begins with Randy taking part as a contestant on the Wheel of Fortune, with Randy having made it all the way to the bonus round and even getting to say a big hello to the folks in South Park.
That's us.
Hey,
Randy.
Hey, good luck.
However, this happy-lucky-go mood shifts almost instantly, as the category is revealed to be people who annoy you, and only one letter is remaining.
Audience, keep quiet, please.
Oh boy, I think we all know where this is going. And so, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Randy then gives the most horrific answer that you could possibly give. And after this, the entire audience goes silent, they cut the transmission, and Randy has to pick up the pieces on the car ride home.
Stanley, the only reason Daddy used that word is that he thought he would win money.
Ah, yes. Money makes everything excusable. What a great lesson to teach your son, Randy. And honestly, saying this word was horrible enough, but what comes next is just inexcusable, as Randy then goes on an all-out campaign to play the victim, with the first stop on this tour being to kiss Jesse Jackson's ass. And Randy then carries on this crusade by going to an all-black comedy night and even doing his own version of slam poetry, which, as you may have guessed, doesn't exactly go well. And at this point, instead of simply apologizing and acknowledging his wrongdoing, Randy instead goes to Washington, DC. And this is to pass a new law which prohibits anyone from making fun of people who have previously said the N-word.
All those in favor to ban the term guy? Aye! Opposed? Nay?
And considering the fact that Randy just set racism back 100 years, I'd say that he deserves a lengthy stretch in prison. However, none of this comes close to the #1 episode on our list, which starts off with Randy realizing that he can make millions of dollars if he starts selling his Tegridy to the Chinese.
We could grow the family business by selling Tegridy to the Chinese.
And so, after abandoning his family and his morals, Randy is finally ready to take on China. And boy, does he take on China, as Randy teams up with Mickey Mouse in order to squeeze every single dollar they can out of the Chinese government. However, this doesn't work, as China is still incredibly annoyed at the US for their president being compared to Winnie the Pooh. And so, in order to get the Chinese to buy Tegridy, Randy decides that he must kill Winnie the Pooh. And this isn't even the worst thing that Randy does in China, as after this brutal execution, Randy and Mickey decide to go to a nightclub, where they just so happen to see a rather tempting bat. And just like in the overlogging episode, Randy's lust once more leads to catastrophic events, as after taking advantage of this bat, Randy decides that he also then wants to make love to a pangolin. And it's here, at this very moment, that the lockdown is created. That's right, because Randy couldn't keep control of his sexual urges, hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives. And of course, one very special little bear. And so, for all of the horrific crimes that he has committed, Randy Marsh deserves to be locked in prison forever and never let out.